Hello, fellow wanderers. I'm Endri, and thank you for joining me as we wander through some more Sunless Sea. Last time, we went to Pignote Island. We helped the cavies get their star back, and we managed to forge a peace between the guinea pigs and the rats. We will not be able to do anything until the next time we stop by there, so we're going to move on. And we found the Shepherd Isles. Very nice. I wasn't expecting to encounter them quite this far north. There are three different islands, or three different ports in this particular chunk of the map. This is the first one, the Shepherd Isles, Field Haven. Of course, the bearded watchman tells you there's no actual shepherds on Shepherd Isles. Sheep are mostly illegal here. No, indeed, it's just the name of the gentleman that found the islands. Greybeard, sitting in the village square, nods solemnly. No sheep, one says, but plenty of tales. Ask us anything. We'll compile a report. We could recruit the sigil-ridden navigator. And I figure, why not? Let me guide your ship. I know all the Z, how it was, how it will be. Please, the headaches only stop when I'm working. Thank you. The nonsense here was a distraction for a while, but only the Z can help me now. Ah, my god, the air, the air. It's clearer already. Let me chart a course for you. Ah, my head, my head. Put your new officer by dragging from the Officers tab to a slot at the top of the screen. So we're going to go to Officers, First Officers, and put him there. So he gives us 6 mirrors and 3 veils, which is nice to have. And unfortunately, there's nothing we could do here. That was our event for the island. But we got the port report, which is worth a little bit of money. So we're going to continue to sail around. I would like to find the 2 other things that tend to be out here. One of them should be the Sisters Abbey, which I think we're about to come upon right now. Abbey Rock, there it is. Abbey Rock is another place where you can use news to find out certain things. In this case, I believe it reduces terror by 2. We're on Abbey Rock. We could trade supplies. They give you exactly what it costs. So if you have extras, you can trade them here. We have a pile of report. We could search the surroundings, but I'm not going to. You can only do that once per captain. And I have a particular one I want to search, and it is not at the Sisters' Abbey. But that's all right. We'll have more events to deal with them later. We had no something awaits us yet, so we didn't really have much to do there. But it's nice to find, and it will give us a port report, which will get us some more money. Our ship is pretty efficient, luckily. Station 3. We needed to find this for a quest. Oro Megalops. I don't want to fight it. You can kill them and get some supplies or some fragments, but I have no particular want to deal with it. Our ship is not very tough, and it's an easy fight, don't get me wrong, but it's not a fight I want to do. Machinery hums behind high steel walls. Up the hill there are visible outlines of warehouses and a building with a spire. But the lamps are low where they burn it all, and your ship the only one in harbor. Deliver the Laurenfluke and observe the student's experiment. He is terribly excited and requests your steadying presence to ensure he maintains the appropriate scientific detachment. The shed is empty, save a writing desk and the gigantic mass of needles. The anxious student snaps off the tip of one and twirls it between his fingers. I hypothesis that the flukes have a method of absorbing and storing our lived experiences. It allows, therefore, that there should exist a means of transmitting, reliving that experience like so. He stabs needles through his palm, his eyes dulls. You heard Captain Harris, sailors. Target the Orgadai and fire torpedoes. If you hit one of the Lauren flukes, then by God and Her Majesty, I will put you out of the airlock and let your spiny bastards take you. Fisher his reverie a moment later, beaming. That will do. Pass me your notes. I will carry on the experiment from here. You witness history. 2 extraordinary implications. Very nice. Church or something else. You stand on the high point of your ship and look ashore. Steeple building on the horizon, by far the largest in sight. No crossbar at the top of it, nor any other symbol you recognize. We can't go in there yet. We don't have a long box. We're not going to have one for quite a while, most likely. Down below us is the Bonnie Reefs, which to me says that we're fairly near the edge of this chunk, and also that the thing we're looking for out here is not this direction. Ah, Demis's Gate. Well, that will actually help us with something a little different. I didn't think the Bonnie Reeves were at Demis's Gate. That's alright, though. We actually need to find the main island for this chunk, because it will give us the special report we need for the admirals. Over here? Yes, Demo Island? I'm going to call it Demo Island. I don't know how it's actually pronounced. But the Iron and Misery Co. Funging Station. And yes, those are mushrooms all over that island. Giant, giant mushrooms. We're doing pretty good so far. We're going to head east from here. I don't particularly want to go any further south. Not yet, at least. Not yet. I&M has a funger operation here, felling giant bulbous mushrooms for the building materials. Harvesting Curaleaf for its medicinal properties is a desperate little outpost of something like civilization. Up pups the affable Factor. Oh, hello, Captain. Thank God for visitors. We'd be quite mad out here otherwise. Quite mad. How can we be of assistance? They don't have anything we can buy or sell that's worth talking about. Give the pass sign to the affable Factor. We gain strategic information, and we complete the commission. Here, little to report, but we had a Connate privateers nosing around, and tell them that the company grows suspicious. Mr. Iron knows the Admiralty is interested in his business. Pray, my friend, that you never have to serve two masters as I do. We can now explore, which I'm not going to. We accept a volunteer, which for one echo will give us another crew. We're going to compile a port report for certain. We could go look for supplies, but it could cause us terror, but I'm just going to do tea with the Factor. Poor fellow needs company, and spare an hour away from his schedule. You sit on the veranda of the Factor's house, looking out over the fungal jungle, an expanse of green and sour gold. The air is thick with hovering spores. The scones are stale. Even the tea has a hint of mildew. But the Factor is good company. He shares odd stories of the ice and roses of Irem, the monstrosities of the Sea of Lilies, and little restaurant in Venderblight, where he enjoyed a most extraordinary seafood. Venderblight, I know. I'd never been a tomb colonist who could cook, but you must visit the place. Do you know it? He also has a load of Bulgus Fron cord aboard your ship. He weighs your eggs. I've eaten so much of the stuff, I fear I might be transformed entirely into fungus. He leans confidently towards you. It happens, you know, but ones who eat rather a lot of it first. We lose 2 terror, we gain supplies, and we learned about a restaurant in Venderblight, where we could in fact recruit some crew. So, we still have 12 fuel. Our terror is still fairly low, so I think we're going to sail east. One thing to note is that certain parts of the map always spawn the same. The west coast and the southern coast always have things in the exact same spot. So it generally does little good to explore those early unless you specifically know what you're looking for. In this case, I don't want anything particular from the southern coast. At least, not this part of the southern coast. Now, we should be reaching the edge of this particular square. We could be sailing into a nameless square. We are... Yeah, we sailed through one tile. And we have our something awaits us. Fog banks there are a little bit annoying. Oh, that's a bat swarm. I don't want to fight the bat swarm. Gonna have to, because they're not going to give me a choice. Alright, I'm going to turn on the light, because we're not going to get away from them. There we go. We took a little damage. Little leathery corpses scattered across your deck. The rest of the swarm vanished into the Neath Dark. We're going to dispose of the corpses, which will drop our terror by 1. Fair enough. I don't really want to fight them. As you can see, the bats aren't hard. They take 2 shots with your starting gun and with our starting iron, but it's still annoying to fight them. So I think that we are in one of the nameless tiles, which is to say we're not going to find anything here. So with that being said, I'm going to turn our attention northward to see what we can find. We found a fuel ship. That's nice. Or, sorry, not a fuel ship, a light ship. We could buy fuel there if we were desperate for it, but it's quite expensive. And we still have 11 fuel, and we are not actually that far from home. We should be fine. Note that we do not have a lot of money to start with. We are going to need quite a bit more to do anything particularly useful. There are ways at the start of the game to make very easy money. We'll be going over a few of those. There is one in particular I am looking for, but I'm not finding it. Ah, we found the Corsair's Forest. That's interesting. I was not expecting to find Gator's Mourn this far north. Well, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with finding Gator's Mourn. You can occasionally find pirates out here. They'll attack you. You can shoot them. Ship-to-ship combat is actually much easier than ship-to-creature combat because ships don't just have the ability to bash you. You know, turn around on a spot and bash you. So, I don't mind so much fighting ships. Some ships. Weaker ships. We don't want to fight stronger ships quite yet. Mourn is a stalagmite, vast as a crag, and its foot has no safe harbors. Corsair Citadel nestles halfway up. An intricate system of winches takes the strain, and your ship rises slowly from the sea. Her hull creaks in protest. Grizzled sailors groan and cling to stanchions. Higher, higher. Now the Untersee glimmers like a glass below. Children clamoring in crevices cheer and wave alarmingly. The winch motor slows, and you hang in a cradle next to the red-bowed cutter. So, we want to overhear rumors of a pirate poet. Landlubbers for pirates. Pirates fear the poet. Some say she's a clayman who freed herself with the power of verse. Possible. Others insist she is the personal muse of the king with 100 hearts. Unlikely. One claims she sails a living ship made of the still streaming skulls of her victims. More sober muscles mutter that no, it's an Alkeus-class vessel. But the truth, few have fought her and survived to tell the tale. Only bravest captain risked the lonely parts of the sea where her flag is said to fly. Surprising quantity of actual landscape on the Mourn. It's vertical admittedly, but once you find the beast paths and urchin roads, you traverse it as you would a rocky moor with additional throat full of lurching terror. So we'll explore just for fun. Our pages is horrible, so we're not going to bother trying to riddle. We are going to do a tough challenge to get a port report. Whether you succeed or fail, you still get it. You just gained 5 terror and we lost a crew. We're starting to get rather low on crew. Once we get to 4, we can only sail at half speed. That would be bad. Fortunately, our terror is under control and our hull is fairly intact, so the chance of us losing crew randomly is fairly small. So Gator's Mourn is likely to be the only thing on this particular tile. I'm not overly worried about it, but it's nice to know, and we did get a port report, which is useful. So we're going to head north a bit more. There are a couple of places I do want to find. The Chapel of Lights, which is in the north. Yay, the Salt Lions! And there they are! Excellent, they're not that far from home. This is how we're going to be making a lot of our initial money. It's going to require a lot of back and forth trips that I will likely do mostly off screen. We will continue to sail a little bit north of the Salt Lions. Our hold has plenty of capacity. It's nice not to be burdened by ridiculous quantities of various things that I can't sell or get rid of. So into Zealport we go. Two basalt beasts, cathedral size. They frown eternally at each other across the black waves. The north one carries an encampment. Creepy human figures eat away at its features like rot. Picking. There's a supply dock below. Muscular pick wielders rest on camp stools, watching you approach. Passing flask around, an unctuous overseer beckons to you. 5 terror. We do not have enough money to buy the Sphinx Stone. You need 200 to start. And we don't have that yet. So we're going to continue sailing around. We want to get a few more port reports, which will get us a good chunk of money. Keep in mind, the nearest place we can buy fuel is Venderblight at the moment. So we don't want to run out of fuel if we can at all help it. So we're going to head north. I'm hoping to find the Avid Horizons directly north of us. I might find Mount Palmerston, which would be fine as well. There's some things we can do there. I might also find the Cathedral of Lights. We can't find Irem this far to the east, or the west, I mean. Unfortunately, all we managed to get was the Ragged Crow, which at least is easy to find. There we go. We found it. So we are going to turn west because usually directly north of the Ragged Crow is a Tyrant Moth. We do not want to face a Tyrant Moth. It will do bad things to us. Very bad things. So in the north here, it looks like we've got a snowstorm, which is irritating. I was going to say, are we not moving anymore? But no, we're still moving. We found Frostmourne. Well, good to find it. So we'll find Bright and Teneb. And not Frostmourne. Frostmourne. No, not Frostmourne. Frostmourne is something else. Wrong game. We found Frostfound, which is some place that's used for very specific purposes, generally fairly late into your quest. So we'll be visiting here very infrequently. However, we should be able to find a crew member here, which will be useful. Hopefully he's here. Hopefully I have enough money to actually get him. I do. We haven't made much money so far this voyage, have we? That's all right. Towers and ramps and galleries and stairs of ice, raised and spun like an architect's honey dream. No spider ever wove so complex a web. The towers were utterly pristine, untouched by human life, but a pitiable encampment squats by the docks. Tyler's mechanic is enough of Frostfound. He smiles at you over his spectacles, teeth chattering. Brr. So glad to see a ship at last, ready to offer my services. I'm an engineer, finest you'll ever hire. Treating them like my own children. Not that I have children. Too busy. Usually busy. Spot of rust, as soon as you do that. You there, help me with this spot of rust. So we got the tireless mechanic for 20 echoes, which is a fairly good price. He's a chief mechanic, he raises veils by 8 and raises fuel efficiency by 5%. Our veils is getting pretty high. We want to take tea with the squire at the dock. Some of them wear the robes of the Iremi riddle fishers. Some look like withering folk, but even more ragged. They do seem a little more practical than either of those people. We're keeping the steps for the game of truth, a helpful riddle fisher explains as she fills your cup for the 3rd time. Every year the people of Irem and Wither meet here for, she pauses, contests. She finished vaguely. Difference between a question and a riddle. One day someone will prove themselves enough to enter the castle. You spend a pleasant few hours while the tea is supplemented with Irem liqueurs, pale withering beer, and something the Riddlefisher describes blandly as snake cake. They offer you fuel and supplies before you leave. We keep enough to spare, the Riddlefisher grins. From time to time, a captain gets lost and comes up here. We always feel bad for them. So you get fuel and supplies, and you lose some terror. Not all are Remy or Withern. There's an odd researcher, the occasional deranged ice sculptor, now and then a very cold, very sad rubbery man. For the most part, an atmosphere of friendly rivalry reigns. There's no stores here, so don't worry about that. We are getting a little low on fuel, and it looks like I am not going to be lucky enough to find the Avid Reaches, which is a pity. I would like to find the Avid Reaches, but that's all right. We'll be okay. We know where the Sphinxes are, or the lions are, and we'll be doing a delivery of Sphinx Stone in the future. I guess they are Sphinxes. Anyway, we're going to sail west for a bit here. We should find Codex. Oh, I didn't actually discover Teneb. That's all right. We found Codex. Codex is a place where you can buy fuel and supplies. So it's very nice to find fairly early. It's always here, though. This Codex never moves. Codex, a desperate cave full of mute exiles and an inexplicable colony of shivering, bad-tempered monkeys. Not much we can do about this. We can compile a port report. That's really all we can do in Codex. But you can buy fuel and supplies for the standard rate. Well, the standard not in London rate. And if we sail here to the west, we should find our final city for our little venture so far. A bit of a pity. We're going to have to explore around there, but I want to do the Salt Lions before anything else. It will be the first thing I do. And there is a reason for that. We need to build our legacy. And you'll see what a legacy is eventually. So here we find Wither, the city of riddles, basically. Chilly city beside a waste of salt. Behind the great arch over the bay, the pale wastes stretch, white and silent as the face of the moon. From here you almost imagine they were snow. North of the city, the salt pools fizz with unlikely color. So we explore the town. Wither's a quiet, chilly town of gray stone enclosed courtyards. The people are neither exactly unfriendly nor exactly hospitable. They have the irritating habit of answering a question with a question. Here and there are odd sights tucked away. The Black Sea whispers on the beach. Another soft sound is audible above the waves. Owen in an iridescent green gown waves vaguely from the rock near the shore. Sorrowful sighs waft across the water towards you. Is he a castaway? A mermaid? Of course not. Mermaids or our preposterous myth. I don't think we should approach this, but I'm going to just for the hell of it. Poor woman doesn't answer your hails, which obviously needed assistance. Poor woman doesn't answer your hails. That's all for now. Fang mouth rears from the water, big enough to bite a boat in half or swallow a pig. The woman contorts and slides in the water until she is the tip of the monster tail. This will be untidy. Pacify it. We don't have a strange catch. Obliterate it. Probably not going to happen. Or flee. Flee! We lost one crew. We got a tale of terror. We gained 10 terror. The beast next sticks out to wrap up a single struggling sailor with terrible deliberation. The rest of you scramble inland. It submerges, eyeing you with reptilian malice. A sea serpent that masquerades as a lady. Well, that's a tale to tell. We're now down to 5 crew. That's bad. Sisters of Wither enjoy questions so much that they answer a question with another question, make it tell each other. Irritating. Are you asking for any particular reason? What time of day? Is that your hat? Might it be 6? Could be 6. Eventually you cobble together enough implication and supposition to compose a report. We are done with Wither. Wither, I didn't show you the shops because they're kind of worthless to us at the moment. You trade other items to get items. They don't use echoes, which are your coins. It makes it very irritating to get anything out of Wither. Very, very irritating. Oop. We're going to keep the light off. Oh, please turn. No, please. There you go. Turn that way. That's a life crag. We don't want to go anywhere near that thing. It will wreck us. Absolutely, without question, will destroy us. And we don't want to be destroyed yet. We haven't accomplished anything yet. We're still very early in this captain's career. We are going to stop by Vendor Blight because we've got a event, and we might as well use it. We're still a long way from London after all. Oh look, a Zebat swarm. Who'd have thought? I hate these things. And now we're down to 59 hull. I hate these stupid bats. Ugh, we made it inside. Fine cuisine and vendor blight. Now that would be something. The twisty tip of an odd little side street, welcoming yellow light glows from a gilt-lettered windows of a restaurant. The sign reads Vengeance of Jonah. Beefy tomb colonist bustles up. A gray mustache pokes impertinently from out under his bandages. Come in, come in. So we could offer a strange catch, sample today's special. We could offer to pay him as a cook. We're not going to bother with this at the moment. We'll explore Vendor Blight. You wander the equity streets alone. From time to time, the sensation of being watched comes upon you, but each time you halt, you hear no other footsteps. Nothing eventful, only eerie. But when you return to the quayside, someone has left an odd, bulky box for you. There is no bill of lading, but maybe your ship is attached to a tag. Oh, good. We got a copper box. We need that, actually. That's how we can progress with Station 3, which, being so close, we should probably do. Alright, let us sail south. We're going to... Now, you're probably thinking, well, if you make some money off port reports, that's good and all, but how are you actually going to make money overall? I mean, we've burned a bunch of fuel. We got a bunch for doing Pigmoat Island, which let us explore a little more, but we're a bunch of fuel. Well, Admiralty reports, the port reports are actually very useful. Now, ideally, the strategic information we got for going to the Fungine Island, we would save 2 of them, and we would combine them, and you could get a better reward. However, since this captain is not going to be our long-term captain, for various reasons, I'm not overly worried about it. I'm just going to turn them in, because they're worth 150 echoes, and that's quite a bit. I'm not going to go to Hunter's Keep with this event. I'm going to save it for London, because we definitely want to have the event in London. We're not going to have a nightmare yet, which is a pity. We are going to eventually want to have a nightmare, but that's all right. We need to hire some more crew. I don't like being at 5 of 10 with our current setup. We gained 1 terror. We failed that heart challenge. I should have read that. We're going to see that one several times. I'll try and remember to read it later. It's just a random event that comes up. I think normally when you have your light turned off, some things are too illegal for the customs service to admit the existence of. The ministry are here looking for those. Nothing to hide. You shrug and invite them to search your ship as thoroughly as you would like. They leave scuff marks on the newly scrubbed decks and take great pleasure in tangling the rigging. They find nothing more dangerous than a moldy ship's biscuit. All the clatter and song of the dockside soothes the soul. Are there messages for you? There are. We've got a few things. Consider a specialist surgeon. Staying at a respectable boarding house near the docks, you made it known that she's available for work. Specialize in amputations. It's easy to acquire unwanted appendages at Z. Alright. Clattery Air, which was a DLC, a backer reward that they made available to everybody. 30 echoes, certainly. I'll hire you. That will give us a doctor, a surgeon, which gives us 6 hearts and 6 iron. That's not bad. I like her. She's a good officer. Merchant Adventurer. An urchin tugs your sleeve. Governor wants a word. A brooding figure waits at the lampslight edge. I have need of a reliable agent. Failing that, an inventive one. Here are my requirements. Very specific needs will pay much better than the market rates. You won't ask how you came by these things. Romantic approve, romantic smuggled, or something silky. 21 bolts of spider silk? Oh, that's way too much. Romantic literature I know how to get, but it's a little bit of a run, so he's going to have to wait a bit. We are going to do his quest, though, for reasons. Let's go to London. Let's visit the university. We have a secret. We've got 6 of them, so we can afford to give one up. The university has an inexhaustible appetite for secrets, Z specimens, and other tidbits of esoteric lore. Provide a secret to prove yourself worthy of entry. Oh yes, the university's maritime liaison whispers breathily. Oh yes, this is quite a tasty one. Let me explain it to you. He explains, teeth glinting. The alarming scholar is mercurial, to say the least, a creature of sudden moves and provoking teeth. Possibly her, is it her, appointment at University Maritime Liaison was precautionary. To keep his, is it his? Razor-sharp enthusiasm for causing too many injuries in the faculty. Ah yes, the scholar whispers breathily. I have a budget for acquisitions. What have you brought me? If you have any knowledge items, the scholar will buy them, so we could sell him memories distant shores, outlandish artifacts. All sorts of things. The extraordinary implications. Normally you'd want to save these for something. I'm going to go ahead and sell them. They're worth 250 echoes each, and we need some startup capital, I would say. Let's read the morning paper. The Khanate is threatening war. They always are. London's colonies on the Canalian coast want independence. They always do. The Entersea, not the paper's report, has undergone another alteration. Not yet, it hasn't. You'd know. Oh ho, a promotional coupon from Mrs. Plenty's Provisioners for half cask of salt and herring. You could use that. It got us a free supply. Very nice. Let's go back to London. Carouse in Wolfstack Docks. 80% chance of success. This will reduce your terror. You might run into a trouble or romance. A marvelous night out. Sea shanties, fine food, the warmth of pub fire, and something more. You were fortunate. We lose 5 terror. Very nice. We lost 10 echoes. We're okay. We got recent news, and we lost our thing. That night in Wolfstack, you find yourself sharing a tale with a likely lass. She tipsily claims to be a spy. Whatever she is, she's easy to like, and when the evening ends, you're still together. I'm going to pick this one. Next morning, she gives you a pewter locket. As you reach for it, she grips it briefly in her fist. Don't you dare forget me, she says. Very nice. I wanted to make sure we got that done. We don't have a new recruit, which is interesting. We're going to recruit some crew. We gained 3 for 30 echoes. Good enough. All right, to the Admiralty's office. Pirates Forest. You know, I read this. Port report. Gain 30 echoes. Favors. Trust the citizens are doing well. Citizens of Jury Majesty. Notionally, yep. So we get one more. What have the Nearly Dead been up to up there? And as you can see, we're getting echoes and we're getting fuel, which is very nice for the early game. I refuse to ask any questions. I don't want to give them satisfaction. Shepherd Isles submitted unsubstantiated hearsay. We do hear some unlikely tales of that place. I agree, it does seem implausible. So many of the stories from that place do. Still, there's a little gold of truth in the mud of rumor. From time to time, your payment. We don't have good enough skills to do anything else. This one's fun. Excuse me. Let me let me call a colleague in. This is my colleague, Mr. Villian of the Ministry of Public Decency. Mr. Villian, this good captain's report is here. If you would care to... Yes, the fire is already lit. There we go. Now only ashes remain. It might have caused such a lot of trouble. Thank you, Captain. We appreciate your discretion. Here's your payment. You need not trouble yourself further in this affair, so we can never get a port report from that island anymore. We categorize it as a military installation, you know, although that has occasioned quite vigorous debate. Pigmode Island. I'm not certain I heard you correct. Are you certain this is the report you wish to make? So be it. Beautiful as they say? I doubt it. Poets are notorious liars, but liars make bad poets. Paradox, isn't it? Never mind. Your report? Exile for giving answers. That's Wither for you. Anything new? Lazar has always taken an interest in that place. That's for the Salt Lions. You've been to Demo's Gate. Yeah. We'll give him the strategic information here. Is that indeed? I'll send you directly up to the Admiral himself. So we'll pass on strategic information. He's hard to read with those glasses, but he reads the summary intently. Satisfactory, he says at last. Eminently satisfactory, actually. Good work. Take this for your trouble. So we get 150 echoes. And ask if there's any particular he needs. Situation there, return. So we need to go to Khan's Heart, which we have not discovered yet. We will eventually discover it, I'm sure. So we want to go ahead and buy... that's enough supplies. We're going to drop this off eventually. We've got some news, which is nice. We've got a secret. That's about it. And I think that will be it for this part. So until our paths cross again, have fun and stay safe, everyone.